You've been overpaying for butter and you didn't even know it. Not because the butter's fake, because 5 grocery stores are charging you double for the exact same legal product you can get for a third of the price 2 aisles over or 3 miles down the road. Today we're going store by store, receipt by receipt, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which stores are quietly taxing your toast and which 3 are actually earning your business. Stick around because the gap between the cheapest and most expensive store on this list isn't small. It's not 10%, it's not even 50%. By the time we get to the worst offender, you're going to see a number that's almost exactly double what the best stores charge for a product that is, by federal law, chemically identical no matter which shelf it's sitting on. Here's the thing almost nobody thinks about. Butter has a legal definition in this country, and it's a lot simpler than you'd expect. Under federal law, 21 U.S.C. 321A, enforced through FDA regulation at 21 CFR 101.67, a product can only be legally called butter if it contains at least 80% milk fat. That's the entire bar. There's no separate tier for supermarket butter versus premium butter versus gourmet butter. Once a product clears 80% milk fat, it has the exact same legal standing as every other stick in the case, whether it's wrapped in plain wax paper or gold foil with a cow on it. And get this, that standard isn't new and it isn't loose. It traces back to federal dairy law that predates most of the branding you see on shelves today, and it's the same standard the FDA uses right now to decide whether a company is even allowed to make comparative nutrient claims about butter. Every stick sitting in every dairy case in America, from the cheapest store brand to the imported stuff, clears that same legal minimum. Which means the $9.59 stick and the $3.23 stick are, by federal definition, the same product. So when a store charges you 3 times more for it, that's not a quality story, that's a markup story. And nobody's hiding it. It's sitting right there on the shelf, price tag and all, every single week for anyone who bothers to check. Now, I want to be upfront about something before we start the countdown, because it's the honest thing to do. Brands get sued when they lie about what's inside the package. Stores don't have that same exposure. Nobody gets fined for charging you $9 for a stick of butter because charging a lot isn't illegal. It's just a choice they're making about your wallet. So this isn't a legal Jeopardy countdown like some of our other episodes. There's no lawsuit reveal waiting at the end. This is a receipts and register countdown. Real shelf prices, real published basket surveys, real structured taste tests, lined up side by side so you can see exactly where your money's going. Here's the thing. That actually makes this list more useful, not less, because every single number in it you can go verify yourself on your next grocery run. We built this off actual shelf prices and actual published basket comparisons, not opinions or vibes. Let's start with the mildest offender and work our way up to the store that's charging you almost double. Skip number 5, Walmart. I know what you're thinking. Walmart's supposed to be the cheap one, and on pure sticker price, it is. Great Value salted butter runs about $2.42 for an 8-ounce pack, which works out to under $5 a pound. On paper, that's a perfectly fine deal, and if you're shopping on price alone, Walmart's not going to hurt you here. But here's the kicker. When a structured side-by-side taste test lined Great Value up against other store brands, including Publix's, testers flagged it specifically for being oversalted, to the point where the salt overwhelmed the actual dairy flavor the butter was supposed to deliver. It still got its grade AA rating, the highest quality grade the USDA hands out to dairy products. And that grade means something real. It means the product passed a formal inspection for flavor, body, color, and salt content within an acceptable range. But acceptable range and well-balanced aren't the same thing, and the people who actually put it on toast and judged it side by side against the competition came away with the same complaint. Heavy on salt, light on everything else butter is supposed to taste like. So here's the deal with Walmart. You're not getting robbed on price, you genuinely are paying less. But you're also not getting what that grade AA label implies to most shoppers, which is a product that's been vetted for taste, not just technical compliance. It's the mildest offender on this list for a reason. Nobody's overcharging you here. You're just getting exactly what you paid for and not a cent more in quality. Skip number 4, Winn-Dixie. This one's a straight receipt, no interpretation needed. A multi-reporter grocery survey built an identical Thanksgiving staples basket. A can of soup, pumpkin puree, refrigerated pie crusts, sugar, flour, cornflakes, coffee, a gallon of milk, a pound of cheese, a dozen eggs, and a pound of butter, and priced that exact list at 19 different stores across the same region on the same day. Walmart rang that basket up at $76.65. Winn-Dixie rang up the identical list at $105.67. Do the math on that, and it's a 38% markup for the exact same items, purchased the same week in the same market. Butter was one of the line items driving that gap, alongside milk and eggs. Now, Winn-Dixie isn't marketing itself as a discount chain. It's a traditional regional supermarket, and traditional supermarkets tend to run higher than warehouse-style or hard discount competitors. That's not automatically a scandal, but a lot of shoppers treat Winn-Dixie as their reliable, no-frills, everyday grocery stop. The assumption is this is just the normal-priced store. A 38% gap against Walmart on an identical basket says that assumption is costing you real money, basket after basket, week after week. Skip number 3, Publix. Here's where the gap gets a lot harder to wave off. That same Thanksgiving basket survey put Publix at $109.62 for the identical list of items, the highest total of the 3 stores compared, even above Winn-Dixie. And this isn't a one-time fluke tied to a single shopping trip. A completely separate area price survey, run independently, found Publix charging $5.26 to $5.79 a pound for its standard sweet cream butter, against $3.69 a pound for the same style of butter at Aldi in the same market. Run those numbers and you're looking at roughly 40 to 50% more for a legally identical product. Same 80% milk fat floor, same federal standard, same stick of butter functionally. Now, to be fair to Publix, it does have a genuinely well-reviewed organic line called Greenwise, and independent taste testers who tried it described a noticeably richer, more extravagant flavor with a deep, natural color, the kind of difference you can actually taste. At $9.59 a pound, Greenwise is at least competing honestly in the organic category, where premium sourcing does cost more to produce. But here's the thing. The organic line isn't what most people are grabbing off the shelf. The everyday butter, the plain sweet cream stick sitting in the regular dairy case, is the one carrying that 40 to 50% premium over Aldi, with nothing on the ingredient label to justify it. Same milk fat percentage, same regulatory category, same basic product, just a Publix logo on the wrapper and a price tag that assumes you won't check. Skip number 2, Whole Foods. You've heard the nickname, Whole Paycheck. And it's not just an internet joke. It's a documented, repeatable pricing pattern that shows up survey after survey. In the same multi-store price comparison, a dozen large eggs cost $1.39 at Target. At Whole Foods, the exact same dozen eggs cost $4.19. Read those numbers again. That's not a rounding difference. That's 3 times the price, for the same product category, in the same week, in the same regional market. That gap doesn't stay contained to eggs. It shows up as a consistent pattern across the entire dairy case, and butter sits right in that same case, subject to the same pricing philosophy. Whole Foods will tell you, and has told plenty of reporters over the years, that you're paying for sourcing standards, animal welfare certifications, and ingredient screening that other stores don't apply. And on certain specific products, that argument holds up. But when the markup pattern is this consistent, this dramatic, and this repeatable across an entire aisle of basic staples, premium sourcing starts to look less like a principled stance and more like a pricing strategy with a values-based paint job on top of it. Skip number 1, the fresh market. This is the number that closes the case, and it's the biggest one on the entire list. In that same October price survey, the fresh market charged $9.59 for a single pound of plain butter, the highest price recorded across every store in the entire comparison, higher even than Whole Foods and Publix's organic line. Combined into one number wouldn't touch it on a per pound basis for standard butter. Now zoom all the way out to the full basket. The survey priced an identical list of 18 everyday grocery staples: milk, eggs, butter, ground sirloin, and more, across every store in the comparison. The fresh market rang that full basket up at $74.82. Aldi rang up the exact same 18 items at $37.55. Sit with that for a second because it's not a markup in the usual sense. It's essentially double. 2 shopping carts, identical contents, same day, same region, and one of them costs almost exactly twice as much as the other. The Fresh Market brands itself as a specialty grocer. Smaller footprint, curated selection, the kind of store you go to for something specific you genuinely can't find at a big box supermarket. If that's what brings you in, that's a legitimate choice, and nobody's telling you not to make it. But for a plain stick of butter, a product that clears the exact same 80% milk fat federal floor as everything else on this entire list, with no organic certification, no imported origin story, nothing distinguishing it on the label. That $9.59 price tag makes it the single most expensive way to buy a legally identical product anywhere in this lineup. Nearly double the basket for identical groceries. That's skip number 1. The price test. Now, in our packaged goods episodes, we run a kitchen test because there's an ingredient label to physically pull apart and inspect. That doesn't really apply here. None of these 5 stores are selling you a different formulation. They're all selling legally compliant butter that clears the same federal bar. So instead, we ran the numbers the exact way you would standing at the register. Same product, same week, 5 different price tags side by side. Walmart's Great Value came out cheapest on paper at under $5 a pound, but weakest on taste according to structured testing. Winn-Dixie added 38% to an identical Staples basket compared to Walmart. Publix added even more on top of that, a standing 40 to 50% premium on its everyday butter specifically, not just a basket-wide average. Whole Foods showed that same aggressive markup pattern across its entire dairy case, eggs included, butter included. And the Fresh Market topped the entire list, nearly double the price of the cheapest store in the survey, for a product that is, by federal law, chemically and legally identical to what's sitting in Aldi's dairy case 3 miles down the road. Line all 5 up together and the pattern is impossible to miss. The price you pay for butter has almost nothing to do with what's actually in the package, and almost everything to do with which door you walked through to buy it. Before we get to who's actually earning your money here, ask yourself honestly, when's the last time you actually checked what your regular grocery store charges for a pound of butter against the store you drive past on the way there? Most people never do. That's exactly how a 38 to 95% markup survives week after week, cart after cart. Now here's where it gets good. 3 stores that sell you the exact same legally defined butter, grade AA, well above the 80% milk fat floor, made from cows that were never given the growth hormone RBST, without taxing you for the privilege of buying it. Real pick number 1, Aldi. Countryside Creamery, Aldi's in-house butter brand, retails for $3.23 to $4.09 a pound, depending on the week and location, and drops as low as $1.99 a pound during seasonal sales around Thanksgiving and Christmas. A price point that genuinely undercuts nearly every other store on this entire list, skip or real pick. It carries the grade AA rating. The cows are certified RBST free. And here's the part that actually surprised the people who tested it. In side-by-side comparisons against Kerrygold, the premium imported Irish butter that typically costs 2 to 3 times more per pound, plenty of tasters genuinely could not tell Aldi's Irish-style Countryside Creamery apart from the real thing. Not close enough for the price. Genuinely indistinguishable in a blind test to people who tried both. That's not a discount store consolation prize you settle for because you're on a budget. That's the same category of product at a fraction of the price, verified by people with no reason to flatter Aldi one way or the other. If you're stocking up before a holiday, remember butter freezes beautifully for up to a year with almost no loss in quality. So hitting that $1.99 a pound sale window and buying several pounds at once is a legitimate way to cut your annual butter spending by half or more. Real pick number 2, Costco. Kirkland's Signature Butter sells in 4-pound bulk packs for around $11.79 to $12.99, which works out to roughly $2.95 to $3.25 a pound once you do the unit math, right in line with Aldi's everyday price, and in some pricing windows actually cheaper. The one catch, and it's the same catch that applies to everything at Costco, is that you're committing to 4 pounds at once instead of 1. For a lot of households, that's not really a catch at all. Butter is a staple, not a splurge, and freezer storage solves the volume problem entirely. What's worth calling out here is that Costco isn't cutting corners to hit that bulk price. It's the same grade AA standard, the same legal butter classification, just sold at scale with warehouse club margins instead of traditional supermarket margins. If you've got the freezer space and you go through butter regularly, this is genuinely one of the best per pound deals in the entire grocery landscape, full stop. Not just relative to the stores on this list. Real pick number 3, Trader Joe's. At $3.99 a pound, Trader Joe's isn't the single cheapest name on this list. Aldi undercuts it on a regular week and blows past it during sale windows. But what Trader Joe's offers instead is consistency, and that's worth something too. No weekly sales to chase, no markup games depending on the day you walk in, just grade A cream, sourced from cows that have never been given the RBST hormone, priced exactly the same every single time you shop, whether it's a random Tuesday or the week before a holiday. Independent reviewers who've tried it describe it as solid, dependable, supermarket quality butter, genuinely good on taste and texture, though most agree it doesn't quite reach the depth of flavor you get from a true imported European butter. For shoppers who want predictability over chasing the absolute rock-bottom price, that's a completely legitimate trade-off. You know exactly what you're going to pay every time and what you're going to get for it. Trader Joe's also stocks genuinely well-regarded imported options, a French cultured butter, and, when supply allows, a New Zealand import, for shoppers who do want that premium tier without paying premium grocer prices for it. So here's your bottom line, and it's a simple one. Butter is butter by federal law the moment it clears 80% milk fat. The store you buy it from doesn't change that fact one bit. What changes dramatically is what you're charged for hitting that exact same legal bar. Aldi, Costco, and Trader Joe's get you there for somewhere between $3 and $4 a pound, consistently, without games. The fresh market wants nearly $10 for the identical, legally interchangeable product. Publix and Whole Foods sit somewhere in between, quietly collecting a 40 to 200% premium depending on which item in the dairy case you're grabbing. Before your next grocery run, do one simple thing. Check the per pound price on your regular store's butter against Aldi's. If the gap is more than $1 or $2, you're not paying for quality. You're paying for the name on the door and the assumption that you weren't going to check.